What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Dylan back here for another video, and today we start the grind. 3 weeks away from the first game of the regular season between the Eagles and the Falcons. Big time game. We're almost back into the NFL season, but we got a couple more videos to release before we get there 3 weeks from now. So what I'm going to be talking about today is the top 5 most intriguing teams coming into 2018. These are teams that I personally want to watch a lot this season because of the change in dynamic from last season to this season, or how good their offense and defense is, how much better they got in the offseason, the new pieces that they have, are they going to contribute as much as I think that they will? How entertaining are they going to be? Are they going to be really close, exciting games that we're going to want to watch? Some of these teams, you could argue, were pretty good last year or even had decent seasons, but I think the change in dynamic, for the most part, has helped every single one of these teams make them a little bit more interesting coming into 2018. So I really want to talk about these 5 teams in particular. I'm not saying these are the 5 teams you need to watch the most, because you can watch anybody, and you'll get enjoyment from a lot of other teams in the NFL, but these are 5 teams that I'm really looking forward to watching the most in 2018 besides my own team. So let's go ahead and get into the list. At number 5, I have the Oakland Raiders. Now, what I've seen about the Oakland Raiders this year is that there's a bunch of mixed opinions about this team. I think they're going to do very well. I think they'll get a wild card spot. I think John Gruden's going to come in there and make this team a playoff contender. Other people on the channel, especially Kevol, think that they're going to be pretty bad. I think he had them at 5-11 or 6-10, which I do not agree, but Kevol can have his opinions. And other people have had their opinions changed. Mitch last night just said he was going to have the Ravens in the playoffs instead of the Raiders. So this team is very divided in terms of what we think they're going to do. But what I like about the Oakland Raiders as a whole is that last season they just weren't that good. They were not a fun team to watch. They didn't have a lot of chemistry, if you will. It just didn't click as much as you would want to see, especially coming off a really good 2016 season. Now, Derek Carr looks to be healthier. We see that John Gruden's coming in here bringing his own style of coaching. We know how he did way back in the day when he coached. I think he's going to bring something interesting. We saw a little bit of Chucky in that first preseason game. We're going to get more of that. We'll see. But I definitely like seeing the fact that Coach John Gruden is bringing a different mentality in here. He's got a lot of veteran guys, not a lot of young guys on this team, so maybe that's going to be slowed down a little bit. But just seeing the changes that Gruden's going to bring to this team are definitely going to be interesting to watch, and seeing how that offense clicks with the receiver talent that they have, and Jordy Nelson being a new receiver on this team could be very exciting to watch, and seeing that defense can really hold up against the best of the best in the AFC. So it'll be interesting to see how this team clicks, and are they going to be a full cohesive unit going forward and being a playoff team like I predict that they will be. So at number 5, I've got the Oakland Raiders. At number 4, I have the Los Angeles Chargers, and I know somebody will comment, oh my god, shut up, stop talking about the damn Chargers, you just made a video about them, you won't stop hyping them up. It's like 2017 Mitch all over again. But I wouldn't have made that video if I didn't think they were going to be the dark horse this year. I think their offense is very underrated. Phillip Rivers, I've been seeing him get actually a little bit disrespected when it comes into the fantasy football world and his rankings there, and his rankings overall as a QB, I think he's actually pretty low compared to what I would have personally had him. Melvin Gordon, I think, could have a breakout year. I think he could do very well. He's ranked number 12 in Pro Football Focus for running backs. He could sneak into the top 10 for sure. And Keenan Allen, I mean, great receiver, an amazing receiver. I do want to see some other guys step up in the receiver game, but I think that could be a good possibility of that happening. And then look at that defense. I mean, that defense needs to get its respect, because it's gonna be a breakout just like the Jaguars were in 2017. I mean, look at the people that are on the defensive side. Melvin Ingram, Joey Bosa are going to be a huge force on that defensive line, and there's actually some pretty underrated guys on that defensive line besides those two. And then you go into that secondary. I know they lost Jason Verrett, and the injuries are always the biggest concern when it comes to this Chargers team, but there's still so much great talent there. You got Casey Hayward, who was ranked the number 1 cornerback by Pro Football Focus, one of my favorite cornerbacks in the league. You got Desmond King, who's actually pretty good at filling in his role. You got Derwin James coming in from Florida State. You couldn't have asked for a better draft pick than right there. It was a freaking steal at number 17 in the first round here. So there's so much great talent in that secondary that I think is going to step up in 2018. And it just this group overall. We've seen the Chargers kind of be held back by some key losses, some really painful losses over the years. But I think this is the year where they finally figure it out and win that division. I mean, the AFC West is very difficult to win, but I think the Chargers are finally going to get it done. So at number 4, I got the Los Angeles Chargers. At number 3, I have the San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers really intrigued me because last year, without Jimmy G, they were really, really bad. They were really, really bad. But they won their last 5 games when Jimmy G was the starting quarterback. And it brought them up to 6-10. Not a lot of people would have expected that coming in like week 11. So seeing Jimmy G out there and make this team actually pretty watchable is going to be interesting in 2018. Because the 49ers haven't been good for the last couple of years. They've been kind of drowning in this lower region of the NFL. And now they're looking to bring it up with their franchise quarterback, if you will. You got Jimmy G, you got Jarrett McKinnon, who I think is very underrated and is going to prove himself in the running back game. But look out for him to have a great season. Pierre Garçon is healthy. Love to see him and what he can do for this offense. And Marquise Goodwin, one of the fastest receivers in the game. You got to watch out for him. We saw a couple of highlight catches last year. I expect to see more of it this year. And then you got a pretty interesting defense. You got a young defense. Richard Sherman obviously is there. He's not very young anymore, or not as young as he used to be in his highlight days of Legion of Boom, but he brings a veteran presence to the team. Solomon Thomas, their draft pick last year. Reuben Foster, their draft pick last year, who actually was pretty good when he played. Hopefully the controversy is done and he can stay on the football field. So there's a lot of key guys that are going to make this defense pretty interesting to watch in terms of their D-line and how their linebackers are going to make the adjustments necessary to win football games. And overall, you just want to see how good Jimmy G, the biggest thing is how good is Jimmy G going to be. Jalen Ramsey called him a system QB. Is that true? We'll see. Kyle Shanahan, always one of my favorite head coaches when he was head coach, offensive coordinator. Now in San Francisco, he gets to lead the charge with this man, and it's something that we want to see because I think we want to see the 49ers be back in the fold as one of the better teams in the NFL, and that's why I have them here at number 3. At number 2, I have the Chicago Bears. This is a team that I'm really looking forward to watching in 2018 because of the players that they brought in. Let's see what these guys can do, and are they going to make Mitchell Trubisky a worthy quarterback in this league? That's the biggest thing for me. Last year, I'm not a big fan of Mitchell Trubisky, but last year, the Bears kind of set him up to fail. John Fox set him up to fail. And John Fox is gone. They brought in a whole bunch of offensive talent, and now they're like, this is a really solid team that in the next couple of years you got to look forward to. I don't know if they're going to be a playoff team this year. They're on the fringe for me personally, but that makes them even more intriguing. The fact that they could make the playoffs and do something with a wild card. So you got Mitchell Trubisky, a guy that I'm not sure about, but the talent around him is good, with Allen Robinson being your number 1 target. I mean, that's a pretty good target right there. Taylor Gabriel, I know new head coach Matt Nagy is very good in putting interesting play calls, so a guy like Taylor Gabriel is going to benefit from that. Let's bring up Matt Nagy also. A new head coach with a new dynamic that's a little bit, obviously younger than John Fox, but is going to be more new school than old school, so he's going to bring something to the Chicago offense. And then you look at that defense. Very, very solid defense that is getting a little underappreciated. A guy like Roquan Smith, I think, is going to be killer in his rookie year. I put him as my defensive rookie of the year, number 1 for 2018 in my predictions video. So I'm very interested to see what Roquan Smith does. I'm interested to see, other guys on this team. Kyle Fuller is a very good player for this defense. And overall, I'm just looking to see the changes from 2017 to 2018 because they were kind of set up to fail with not a lot of talent in a receiver, and just the head coaching was very bad, and now both of those things have changed. Also, Trey Burton comes in as the number 1 tight end, so that's good for them. Let's see what this team does. Can they be a playoff team? Can they be a wild card team that sneaks in? I got them at 9-7, so who knows? Number 2 is the Chicago Bears. And my number 1 most intriguing team to watch in 2018 is the Cleveland Browns. Yes, a team that went 0-16 last year is now the most intriguing team for me to watch in 2018. It's insane. But look at the changes that the Browns made. They obviously went out there and said, this is despicable. This is awful. We've hit rock bottom. We've got to change. If you watched Hard Knocks, there's been some really interesting developments on that show in the first 2 episodes with the Browns organization. Really fun season so far. You've got a lot of different pieces. Baker Mayfield, what is he going to do for this Browns team? How long are they going to keep Tyrod Taylor? I mean, he's a good quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over, but is he going to be the QB of the future, or is Baker Mayfield going to be the guy? I mean, he drafted him #1 overall, so it's an interesting quarterback dynamic. Antonio Callaway, he looks like he's going to be a star receiver, but he has to get his off-the-field issues settled, and hopefully he can gain the trust back of the Browns organization. Hugh Jackson, we know he's been a terrible coach for the Browns so far. There's no question about that, but for some ungodly reason, the fans have some trust in him, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can lead this team. Jarvis Landry, he's a very good receiver, but he looks like he's a diva in practice. There's actually been a lot of fights going around also, so are they going to be a team? Are they going to work together to get this thing done? Myles Garrett, let's see what he does in year 2. I think he'll be very good. The running back group of Carlos Hyde, Nick Chubb, Duke Johnson, very good out of the backfield. Should be interesting dynamic there. And just seeing these group of guys go out there and compete, I think is going to be a lot better to watch than the dismal 0-16 season. So just seeing this team actually go out there and be competitive in some big-time games will be fun to watch because, you know, the Browns have been the laughingstock of this NFL for a long time. I was trying to think of a word there. They've been the laughingstock of the NFL for a long time now. I think they want to change that. So my #1 most intriguing team coming into 2018 to watch is the Cleveland Browns. So thank you guys for watching. This was my top 5 most intriguing teams to watch in 2018. If you guys enjoyed, smash that like button. Comment below, what are the teams that you're looking forward to watching the most in 2018? Were there some teams that you really like on this list? Throw some suggestions out there. If any team that I didn't put in there that you think is going to be very good, throw those out there in the comments section. Subscribe to The Bottom Line View. Hit that notifications button. We're putting out a lot of videos with 3 weeks left in the NFL preseason. I'm very interested to see all the comments that come in here, and I'm very excited to put out some new content. I got a couple more videos on the way. Some longer projects, some videos like this, top 5, top 10 lists. So stay tuned for that. 3 weeks away from the NFL season. So we're doing The Bottom Line View.